Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speak Up and Out. We're here on our second week. And how did it go, everyone? How was your process and what happened? Does anyone want to start?
I did it.
Woo!
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I had some resistance to doing it. I asked myself, why did I do this? Why did I agree to this again? But it was good. I just treated it like an experiment. So we're going to see what happens. I will say that we had something interesting happen after our last get together here. We noticed that all of a sudden the neighbors started getting friendlier. One neighbor, we've been right across the street for over a year, well, about a year. All of a sudden he came over and started talking. Yeah. So definitely seeing some interesting things already.
And literally the next day after, we were outside, and these neighbors that we have seen walk by us for probably many months now, we just started talking with them, and you actually passed us. Do you remember? You passed us in the car, and four of us were standing out in the street like for an hour having this conversation, and then we started talking about our work. And then so all of a sudden it was so interesting that we're like speaking up and out to individuals that we haven't talked to before. And then Adam, you drive by, so it's like you're kind of witnessing this happening. And so that was really great. And then it was so interesting last time. I'm going to blame you, Zenka.
Okay, all right.
I remember because when we first met last Friday, I was feeling so into it. And I even said that, oh, this is going to be easy. I feel like doing this right now. And I remember you saying, we're all going to procrastinate to the last minute. And she said, we're going to procrastinate to the last minute. We literally made our videos right before we came over here. I was so in a space of not doing it, feeling so much resistance, that I told Carl, she was like, you know what? I'm just going to show up and say I didn't do it because I really don't feel like doing it. And he said, well, come on, Amy, you have to participate. So I agreed. But it's so interesting, the resistance that I have felt. And yeah, but I did it. It's not a video that I'm probably going to share, but I did it just to get it going, You actually did pretty good. Carl is worth sharing. I hope you post yours because he really did a good job. But even now I'm like feeling so much discomfort. And so I tune in and I ask, well, really, what is that about? And it's just that I've repressed it for so long, and it's going to get easier. It will get easier. So I'm confident of that. But anyway, what happened with you guys? Tell us.
Oh my goodness. So yes, I did the exact same thing you guys did. We met up today at 5 o'clock, and I literally started the whole process at 4 o'clock. So
we were saying, yeah,
but I got it done.
We got it done, right? So it's a start. It really is. It's just getting that going. And
yes, exactly. I had a big excuse. I was moving for the past week, so that was a big situation that was taking a lot of energy. And I was thinking about this video the whole week, like every single day. I was so excited about it. I was like, yes, I'm gonna make this video. What am I gonna write about? And my topic was the Vesica Pisces, sacred geometry, and how to create that with frequencies. And I was so excited the whole week, and it was just like endless procrastination, where the procrastination was really all about like me setting up for it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it tonight. Last night, for example, I was like, I'm gonna do it tonight, and then I got out my notebook and my research, and then I just went into a research loop for like 6 hours. So for me, a lot of my procrastination is convincing myself that what I'm doing is necessary, part of the work, but then I'll get stuck there. and then I won't actually go on to the next step of the process. So, I mean, if we didn't have this deadline today, like there's no way I would have gotten that done. But the fact that I did really is a testament that we could do it really quick if we put our mind to it. And although, you know, once the process started, I kept thinking of ways I could make it better if I had more time, of course. And then of course, everything started going wrong. It like my computer was freezing and all of these things. And I'm like, oh, that's, you know, that's a good reason to give some time and space because of those potential errors that might arise. So, but yeah, like miraculously, I got it done. It's a 7-minute video. And I thought I was just going to be able to do one straight shot recording and then upload it right away. But because there were so many glitches on my computer, I had to go and bring that into Premiere and then cut out the glitches because they were really like, it was like a frozen screen for like a minute. So that added a little bit of time, but since the video was short, it was, you know, only 7 minutes, that made it faster with the exporting process once I did those little chops and cuts. And yeah, I can't believe I got it done, but I got it done.
Woo! Congratulations!
Oh, so good.
I know what you mean about the research because you're like, oh, I want to know everything about the whole topic, every single granularity of everything. You know, it's like curiosity.
Yes.
So that's cool that you mentioned about speaking out and then the neighbors starting to meet you, because I noticed some very shocking, which I don't want to talk about right now in this context at all, but I had some very shocking things happen where my inner world, I could see the result on my outer world right there. And that happens a lot, but it's just an interesting reminder of this conversation between what's happening inside of us and what's happening outside of us and how tight it is. It was very, very interesting. But so I got my video, I was full on today. There was, you know, I was busy today. So putting it off until today couldn't have been happening. So I finished mine at 2 a.m. last night. And it was interesting because, yeah, a lot of things came up. I had a huge list of all the videos I wanted to make, like over 40 videos. And it was sort of like, wow, where do I even start? Am I going to lose people? Can I just randomly pick this one, that one? Is it just going to seem like a hodgepodge? And I knew I wanted to do it in front of the board of, you know, the whiteboard, because that's what I'm all excited about. But I didn't know what I was going to do the video about. Like you, I was thinking about it all week. And then on a call right before I needed to record it yesterday, it was like, okay, I have this window from like 2 to 2:45 or 1 to, you know. And I was on this call with the team, and they were like, I was like, I'm doing this project and we got to come up with a video. And someone just yelled out, do your video about ego. And I was like, huh. And I didn't end up doing it about ego, but it was interesting that when you listen to the field, sometimes you'll get the thing that you're supposed to be working, or you're not supposed to, but it's an opportunity, right? So, and I think, isn't this all about ego? Like this whole thing where we're having trouble, like getting started, like, isn't that just fear of results or something? I don't know what it is, you know, but it's just like, I don't know. Anyway, the ego is a whole huge complicated thing that we've been going back and forth and all the nuances. But so I ended up not feeling like I had it in me to do a really like an introduction video or any topic interview. So I just said, hey, I'm doing this project and here we go. And I took it into my, you know, editing thing. I put cool music, I put some cool graphics, and I put it out on my channel with like, you know, 1,600 followers. I couldn't log in. I didn't even have the login. So all these things, like how to mount the camera, how am I going to light this? And then I get it into Premiere and it's like all messed up because if you go from iPhone to Premiere, the LUDs are wrong and so all that stuff got worked out. I know how to shoot, I know how to get it in, and everything's good. And I figured out after logging into 7 different Gmails that I got it on the thing. It's 1 minute and 8 seconds, which is kind of a beautiful number. And I was like, yo, people, I'm doing this thing. Here it comes. And it just says, I need to speak or something now. And it was just like, boom. So I'm building up the pressure even more. So
Yes.
Well, I did a similar thing.
That's so good.
I just said, well, I'm just turning the camera on and seeing what comes out. We're doing this project, so let's see what happens. But it took me 3 minutes to say it.
Did you say
I
yours
did
was
multiple
1 minute?
takes. I did like 7 or 8 takes and started, and then all I had time was just to grab the last one, which was the shortest. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be the one. Because I didn't have time to go back and forth, like which one's better or this and edit. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going with this one. And this is a good for me an exercise in perfectionism, because I always want everything to be over the top perfect, like amazing 10, whatever, It was like, okay, this is done is better than perfect. Get it out there. And you figured out a lot of technical things that were standing in your way, like where's the camera, where's the tripod, how's the LUTs, all the stuff. So yeah.
Good job.
Yay.
Good job.
Yes.
So we could stepchild. I wrote my script on Wednesday. It's great. Didn't have time to shoot it on Wednesday. Tweaked it on Thursday. Didn't have time to shoot. Didn't have time today. So no video yet. I guarantee it this weekend. Script's good. So and I got offered help, which was really kind and generous. And it's unelected. So there is a good time.
Well, good job.
Yeah.
Well, what I did, I'm redoing, because I can certainly do better than what I did. So I said I'm not posting what I did. That was a warm up to just so I could come here and say I did something.
Yeah, good job.
And but I am also committing to doing something in the next couple of days and posting it somewhere.
Cool, you guys.
For me, this is about not having a script, not
Right.
having anything planned, and not having any purpose in the sense that a goal or a focus with that other than expression, just expressing myself.
That's with me too. And that's just what we're called to do. So we all have our own unique way of speaking, right? So I'm similar with Carl, makes sense with the work that we're doing. And this has been my most frustrating thing over so many years, because I've been having these conversations inside myself that are so brilliant. And it's like, how do I get them out? And I will find myself like in the zone and just feel like, oh, it's like so bright, it's so clear what I would like to say. However, in that moment, I'm not on camera, or I'm not it's like how to line it up where I can have that flow and have the camera going at the same time. Because today when I got in front of the camera, I went with the car, I was like, I have no idea what I'm saying here. I didn't feel connected. I feel I didn't have the time to really connect in the way that I would like to allow this expression to come out. However, I still I'm grateful that you made me do it anyway, just because
Maybe
I'm just joking. Yeah, so that's what I'm really looking forward to. And I'm confident that, the way that we're supporting each other, that's going to happen probably, hopefully sooner than I think.
You guys got me thinking about doing channeled stuff. I was like, well, maybe you just turn the camera on and you just let whatever needs to come through. But that's super terrifying. I don't know how that would work. And I also
So
identify
maybe
with
that's
you,
why you
Amy.
do
I'm
it.
like, oh, I've got all these things to say, like all these 40 videos. And I'm like, is that really important? Like, do I need to, like, what about that? And then I get in a conversation with someone and I'm like, this is so important. We gotta do this. And I'm like, but the camera's not on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get that weird finding that groove where we're not thinking too much, we're just in it with the topic, or at least, and at some point I probably will try that weird channeling where it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna turn it on and it's gonna come out. Like, probably could have done a thing on ego, since that was what was being, that's in the field. I could, like, okay.
Well, I think one of the things that I've done in the past that was really effective in that way is to have a camera that you don't have to worry about the camera. So example would be like the Sony. You can set the Sony up, plug it in, so there's no battery issue. You know, you got 30 minutes of run, right? So you can set a timer, like every 30 minutes it's gonna beep, and leave it on for 3 hours. Talk to it when you feel like talking to it, don't, you know? And eventually, like, and you keep doing that, and eventually, like, you get a rapport with the camera. You can like, hey, I'm talking with whoever's on the other side of that. You can start to feel them. And there's a little stanza from V for Vendetta that I really like to reflect on when I'm like with the camera too. Where there's just somebody reaching out to whoever's on the other side, and it was someone that's writing, like, I'm writing this to you, whoever you are, and really bring forth like that emotional connection to that person that's there, because you're gonna reach somebody, a stranger, which is so weird in a way, right? You're gonna reach this stranger, and your message is something
Yes,
they
I agree.
desperately had a desire to hear. So
Interesting.
Yeah,
so,
I'm super inspired by the idea of just turning the camera on and talking about something. But I feel like that's an ultimate goal for me too. That's maybe because that's like pure authenticity of your heart flowing through. And yeah, I feel like it is scary. It's very terrifying just to be that vulnerable. And I feel like for me, the stepping stone to getting there is to have this outline.
Yeah.
I don't think I would work with this like a script, but having the outline and then just doing all the research ahead of time, and then like making sure I have my outline like on my computer screen to the left, and then just flowing from there, but staying within the outline. And then if I get stuck, then I go to the next thing. And I was trying that in my process today, and it does get a little bit scary on that jumping off point where you're, going into this channeling mode where you're tapping into the field, intelligence field around you and letting that flow through like super authentically. Yeah, that's a field that, some people have to, break through if they've built up that resistance. And I could feel that. And I felt those moments, those jumping off points where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like let go and just allow my weirdness to come through. So there's a few moments of that, but yeah, the ultimate goal is to connect and channel. So yeah.
My guidance just keeps telling me to go deeper inside, and it just takes time for me to do that. So tomorrow is a free day. I don't have anything on the calendar, and I'm just going to lock myself in my room, in my computer. It's a nice space that we have, and where I can have the camera right there, like what you're talking about, Adam. And just when I feel it, and there's space in there for me to maybe, stretch and move my body and just go into a deep meditation. And then when I feel inspired, I'm just going to do it, because these last couple of days, so this is what happens. It's like after we met the first time, I felt an opening just from us coming together. And then the next day it was already showing up in my reality. However, and I'm not saying I did anything not right, because I trust myself. However, I got to see again what happens when I just let the energy of it, like now we're connecting. So if I go right into it, it's going to be easier for me. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the longer that I was waiting and not doing it and still procrastinating, the more I was feeling this really uncomfortable feeling inside. Like yesterday, it was really an uncomfortable day. And and it could have been some things that are happening out there in the world that I was kind of tuning into, and those things were not happy. But I think most of it was just really at myself. It's like, when are you really going to do this? Take the time for yourself. And so that's why I feel like it's absolutely necessary that I do this for myself tomorrow.
I love that, of just like you said, having kind of a more open schedule where you're just like, okay, you know, I can sit here for half an hour, and then when I feel like it, the camera's already ready. So I just reach over there, and you've just kind of got the spaciousness to kind of sit with it. And the reason why I was going like this is because we did put our deadline on Friday instead of Sunday. So I don't have I mean, I'm like go during the week. So I'm like, wow. So technically I need to be doing my next week's video tomorrow or Sunday, maybe, probably, right? So I'm not pressed, and that will give me a good feeling because I'll have done it this weekend, and all next week I'm chill because I'm thinking about my next week, right? I'm thinking about something else because I got that done. So I don't, during the week, I don't,
Then you have all week to edit it and reshoot it.
But so yeah, I mean, and if
Last
it
minute
comes
has some
out that
perks.
you if you pull 2 tomorrow, you got your 2, you know, then you've got next week already in the bag.
Yeah.
And you can just be like, oh, did it.
And then are you independent or are you union? As talent. Because if you're union talent, you know, make sure that you have your agent right. They look over your contract. Like, okay,
Take breaks, snack breaks.
you got these breaks, right? All the stuff that's supposed
What's
to
he
be in your
talking
dressing
about?
room there. And I get her with that. I'm like, wait, no, this is a union shoot. I bring all the snacks in and everything. I'm like, yeah, good time today. And afterwards, you know, there's dessert.
I wanted to go back a little bit to the audience question, where how that was so interesting when he was saying maybe just one other person watches the video and they are a stranger, but they're not. Like, they're actually connected to you. And I always think when I do these videos, I always think it's like a ship log. Like, no one's even listening. It's just my diary. I don't know I don't think that's how it's gonna end up my thing. And then there's the idea of having an actual audience of people. So it's so interesting, all the people, other people that are gonna be in this process too, and how the audience, whether there's not an audience or there is an audience, everywhere in between is kind of an interesting piece of this. I wonder if that affects why we're nervous or not. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like,
Truman Show, that's what comes to mind.
what did you say?
Truman Show.
What do you
I
say?
still see that movie.
Truman Show.
Why are you bringing that up?
What was your thought on that?
My thought was
Oh, we're being
this
watched?
whole conversation about having the camera there, not really having the dynamic of being affected by the camera and what that's like psychologically, how that affects our behavior. So I was just thinking.
If you're interested, I'll get the clip I was mentioning. Send it to everyone because it has a profound effect on me. It gets me really emotional. Somebody's writing their biography on toilet paper and hiding it in a hole wall.
What is this clip?
And you know, and somebody finds it and it changes their life.
Okay, yeah.
So who you're gonna reach and how it's gonna affect them and the degree to which that promotes change. It's really just it's a conversation between your higher self and the universe.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I've been profoundly affected by books and films and videos. Like, it can, you know, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, the cascading effect. Because maybe it's subtly effective, right? You do something subtly effective. 4 years from now, this guy meets this girl and says, "Oh, I was so profoundly affected by this thing," and she says, "Me too." And that was the effect, because now they are deeply and profoundly moved by one another. Because of what you do. Anyway, yeah, I'll share that.
I thought a lot about my essence too in making this. Like, what is my essence? Like, what is that thing about me that's the essence that because I was thinking the first video would be an introduction. So it's kind of interesting to kind of whittle that down a little bit more.
How do you think one can tap into that?
I don't know, someone was reflecting it back to me, like, your essence is this. And I was like, yeah, those are the themes of my life, you know? Wanting us as a society to get there faster, you know? There's just, I don't know, I think maybe asking other people is an interesting reflection point, you know? Someone that's known you or not known you or whatever, or yourself. Essence is kind of a broad term, but it's interesting to understand your essence, because that's more important almost than the details of everything you do. It's like, what is the essence? Like, your essence is really powerful. It's like this very profound scientist that is also, you know, so aware of music and these new frontiers of science. And you're just very calm and very wise and very, your essence is wisdom and being ahead of, you know, I wouldn't say ahead of your time, but ahead of time, of our time. I don't know. Anyway.
So is that what you're talking about in your video?
Yeah, so for me, my gateway into, like, you know, getting over my fear of expression publicly is to do it through science first, and just have this very scientific, you know, front or facade that's just based in numbers and processes and techniques and calculations, and then, like, just drop in these little spiritual nuggets in the space between. So that's kind of, that makes it easier for me, like I was saying, to feel safe to even start the process. But yeah, so my video is about how to take two frequencies and then create the Vesica Pisces. And the two frequencies are separated by a ratio of 2.14. The two frequencies are one square wave and one sine wave. So it's a square and a circle. And that was a breakthrough for me to discover that, because I had no experience working with square and circles and combining them. And then when I combined a square and a circle and I got a perfect Vesica Pisces, that really blew my mind. And the way I found the numbers was from Malcolm Bindall's plasmoid unification model. He has all these numerical sequences that I would play with. And I found so many cool geometries from that. And I was so excited about it. So yeah, so that was my video.
Wait a minute. So what do you mean a square wave? Like at the geometry of a square, or what do you mean square? Square what?
So there's three types of waves. Four types of waves. Sine tone, which is a circle. So it looks like that, like an S shape when you're doing a 2D oscilloscope, but it's a circle if you have Yeah, a sine wave is like, if you look at that and then you do it in 3D, that's like one cycle is a circle.
A circle?
Yeah.
And then it loops out to do another circle, or it doesn't, or it's just
Like, you know,
in
when
one
you see a
thing.
map like that of the Earth,
Yeah.
the Earth is actually a globe. 2D, it does that.
Oh my. But what does it do in the second round? It goes around, and then what does it do? It goes around on the same space, the same path.
Yeah, it creates a perfect circle. No matter what
frequency. Didn't know that.
Every single sine tone creates a
It's
perfect
a
circle.
circle. Okay.
And every single square wave creates a square.
What? It creates a square?
Yeah, in the oscilloscope.
Oh, because it's like this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So and then
Okay, cool.
when you combine the circle and the square,
It creates
a
this
Vesica Pisces.
harmony. Or we're not saying harmony is the word. It creates. What does it create?
I just say sonic geometry, but I don't know.
So what things don't create a Vesica Pisces?
So it's only got one specific ratio of frequencies.
2.14.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it sound like? How does it feel when you listen to it?
It doesn't really sound pleasant, and I mentioned that in the video. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play it for a few seconds, just a warning. It's not the most pleasant sound, it's just like because that's a square wave has that like sound, whereas the sine wave is like ooh. But yeah, when you combine the two, it just has this like weird sound. But yeah, it's cool. But if you had a different ratio, for example, and you didn't use square and sine tones, use maybe 2 triangle waves, you might get a geometry that looks like the Sri Yantra, which I have a whole folder of geometries. None of them are the perfect Sri Yantra, but they look similar to a Sri Yantra. They might be slight variations.
Have you used any numerical system that can actually describe curves without going into absurd
Yeah,
things?
absolutely. And I first started with Dan Winter's harmonic cascades of Fibonacci, which is pretty easy to construct the sequence. You just take a number, which he was working with, the Schumann resonance, 7.83. So he would take 7.83 and he would multiply that by 1.618 to get the next number. And he would take the next number and multiply that by 1.618. And he would get this numerical sequence and put all those sine tones into a frequency generator as the main frequency he used in his Therify device, which was imprinting that harmonic cascade series into the plasma field. And I was really inspired watching his videos years and years ago. I've been following him for like 10 years. And I immediately tried that combination of frequencies. And yeah, that's an example of creating a harmonic cascade that's in a curvature shape. You can use other curves spirals like the crystal spiral, the 1.414, which would be the same process, and taking any number, multiplying by 1.414, which is also the square root of 2, getting that sequence, plugging in all the numbers into sine tone generators, square wave or triangle wave, and then observing what geometries come out. And it's just incredible.
So that that idea to share that imaginary number stuff.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the fractal escape, like when life becomes fractal, because that's what Dan Winters goes, like how far does it step out to go to the next, it steps and it goes, and that's what happens. I think also with us when we're in high consciousness, like why your neighbor stopped. When you're in high consciousness, there's a nesting effect that happens. And so you're spreading out a little bit more. And the coherence of it is a little bit more in order, in fractality. And I think that's kind of so that people that are out of coherence don't write too far into the field, maybe, or at least it's just something that we get rewarded through the synchronicities by being harmonic, by being in a nested fractal, by being clear. Like if we can speak out and speak up clearly from our true soul, without all the like, then it does have that ability to resonate with other people, or resonate with the environment, or resonate mathematically, or become more magnetic, right?
Well, I struggle with, and I don't know if you'd actually read on what your response was, and that there doesn't seem to be any curved mathematics. Like if we draw a curve and we represent it mathematically, every point of representation is angular. It isn't curved. There isn't a curved representation. So, and that's where I'm wondering if the imaginary number sets could help actually describe curves instead of all the points a curve hits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's like it hit this point and this point and this, that those are all angular. And so that dissonance of the two different kinds of wave. See, it's like, even though we know, we can see and we understand that it's a curve, it's represented angular with angular mathematics.
So this goes back to what you were saying about the 72 different options that any circumstance could have, like our conversation today could possibly, according to Sheela, have 72 different variations to what actually ends up happening. So Glenn Ryan was studying things, and one of his machines would give him the printout of the numbers, but it would also show the imaginary numbers. And he was like, okay, whatever, I'm just looking at these other thing. And then he started to look at the imaginary numbers, part of it. And then he looked at the correlation between the imaginary numbers and the regular numbers in this spit out, you know, the printout, right? And then I was like, oh, well, the imaginary numbers are the number of possibilities, because when we collapse an option for the planet or for our society or for ourselves, there's either a lot or there's a little options, and we cut down our path or we open them up. That's why if we stop fighting, we open up more pathways. There's more stuff to do with more money and more things, or we close it down by limiting ourselves. Destroying, but I mean, I don't know, not that destruction is bad, we need destruction, I don't know, but like,
it's making sacrifices almost. It's like
choices.
letting go of clutter just opens up the space for something that's more in alignment. Yeah.
So how does that translate into our expression?
This back to this thing of like, if we can become more clear and not try to edit ourselves so much to fit in, or is this video good, or is this gonna make sense, or am I gonna fit in, or is this even make sense, or whatever, if it's a cleaner, like in the Chinese artists, don't they just like go and it's just one stroke, and the idea is not like, because if you have to mess up, erase, do the other stroke, like it's not that just the sheet off the thing. Like I think that's what you're gonna get to, Amy. It's just gonna be a sheet coming off, and it's just gonna be, it's gonna be unedited you, unfiltered you. And isn't that the goal of life? Is like something truthful?
Yes. It's so interesting that, what are you gonna say? Go ahead. Well, I just find it interesting that what we're doing here for most, it's like the number one fear, right? To public speaking. And I would like that to be changed, because we're expressive beings. We have to speak up and out. We have to express ourselves. I mean, I'm an example of how much discomfort it causes holding it in, and I just find it interesting. That's like the number one thing, even before something else that we don't believe in anymore. Right? Yeah.
We were talking to Nico's principal the other day and asking her the difference between regular school, Montessori, and Waldorf, and she said Montessori, the kid's allowed to say anything. And you're not allowed to say, oh, I don't think that war is about money. You just go, oh, really? What were you thinking about that? Like, huh? Like, there's a general curiosity about whatever a kid says, they get to explore it. It gets to be
That's great.
something to explore.
That's beautiful.
Because otherwise it's like, no, it wasn't. And then you never bring that up again because you're like, oh, well, my instinct was wrong. And what else do we have but our instincts? When we go into hyper change, what else do we have? There's gonna be no script. Pretty soon, in 5 years from now, there will be no script. We just have to go on our instincts, which is like having an encyclopedia of the universe at your hands anyway. Because we have access to all knowledge.
Inside.
Bizarre. Ridiculous.
Sometimes a really good technique of just getting that flow state enacted is to tap into light language and tongue speaking, or however you want to call it, just like speaking gibberish. It's almost like opening up the floodgates. It's just clearing out like a pathway for energy to flow, even though it doesn't really make sense.
I think
Is
that's.
that
I think
what I'm
that's.
doing all the time?
Yeah. That's
think
good.
so.
Yeah, you said.
Cool.
Yeah, Carl is just.
I used to be so serious about being precise about everything. And then I met her. And sometimes things that she says don't make any sense at all. And yet to her, it makes perfect sense. And I always thought that was so strange. And then it's one of those things where I decided to join her. And now I don't make any sense at all, but she seems to comprehend what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate that, and maybe I would do that more. And
And
tomorrow.
I even add a little song into it, a little singing.
Yeah, it's good. So
So
I.
maybe I'm speaking light language.
Yeah. I guess maybe part of my hesitation, I mean, it's changed over the years because I've been working on this and clearing so many things. So what it used to be is no longer, because like I'm comfortable on the camera. I can be here right here. That's not the thing anymore. But because it's allowing something to come out that I don't know what it is yet, really, maybe that's been part of the hesitation, maybe. But it's really getting to the point where it's so uncomfortable that I just got to find a way to do it. And it's okay, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's
I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the world. That'll be cool. I was getting my portrait done today and I was almost in tears because I was so uncomfortable. I was in tears because I was so uncomfortable. And he was like, just move, do the twirl, like the same thing, like the light, like once you move, you can't like loosen up a little bit. But... Oh yeah, many. I know.
Oh my God.
I'm curing instantaneous healing, curing my seasickness, which is my need to control everything, which is
good.
Yeah, so yeah, Susan Schatzer in the money workshop, she just cleared my and then he's like, all right, we're getting in the car, we're going on the back roads, I'm gonna make you as seasick as possible, and nothing happened. And then Nico was like for 2 hours, nothing happened. So yeah, it is everything is all in our head. We tell ourselves stories.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's all a story we tell ourselves. So
tell the story we'd like to live.
Plan A. Plan A. Let's go Plan A.
Oh,
Cool,
we're doing
you guys.
it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Cool.
We're doing it.
So what's
I'm
this-
proud of us.
What do these next 2 weeks look like?
So we had a lot of technical mumbo jumbo getting the restreams going and the channels going and the verification that goes live and everything. So we're going to be smoothing that out. And then posting, I guess we should use the email thread to share the links of the stuff we're posting, because you have a 7-minute, you have a 3-minute, I have a 1-minute, whatever. So we keep communication in that, clean up the YouTube thing, and then we don't meet next week, and we'll meet the weekend after that, which is gonna be, oh, yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Probably party at our house. Not this Friday, but next Friday, so in the
Well,
evening,
we're
that
gonna-
evening,
we're
you
gonna
want to
do
come back over.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do our normal time.
Awesome.
Good job, everyone. This was the
Yeah.
hardest part. The first one was the hardest.
The first one was the hardest. Just, I don't know what you guys experienced. It seemed like everyone was so much more relaxed and flowy today. So,
Completely different than just, so that's just one time. So what does that say? We're
Exactly.
that's why this is exciting.
And your next video is gonna be easy, right? 'Cause you
Yeah.
figured stuff out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know what I have in for myself is clearing off space on my computer because of all those glitches were just because my computer doesn't have enough CPU to record.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I have to do that as my homework. Get a
Cool.
hard drive, clear
Cool,
some
cool,
space.
cool.
But, all right, so we're doing
Good job,
every
everyone.
Friday.
Every other Friday here, every Friday, yeah.
Okay, so
video
every
every
Friday
Friday.
we're doing the video by what time? 4 p.m. Okay. Sweet.
All right. Wrap.
Yeah.